to another episode of NASDAQ Spotlight. My name is Leanne Alfaro. I'm a producer and host here at NASDAQ. Joining me right now is Stamatis Tsantanis, who's CEO of Seanergy Maritime Holdings. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Leanne.
So tell us a little bit more about Seanergy.
Well, Seanergy is an international dry bulk company. We operate internationally by transporting iron ore and coal. We own a fleet of Cape-size vessels. We are the only US-listed company which is a pure play of Cape-size ships. Cape-size is the largest conventional size of the dry bulk vessels. And we mostly do iron ore and coal out of Brazil, Australia into China.
And now, could you tell us a little bit more about your decisions to join NASDAQ? You are NASDAQ listed.
Of course we are, yes. Seanergy is listed on the NASDAQ stock market since 2008. For us, it's a very important opportunity to access to the US capital markets through the NASDAQ platform. You know, as a company, we have been quite active raising capital here in the United States, and we have managed to deliver significant returns to our shareholders over the last few years. I mean, obviously, this is a very cyclical market, as we will discuss later on. But, you know, going through the crisis and the cycles and being able to raise capital, it's actually helping the company and our shareholders a lot.
And in terms of milestones coming up, what is next for the company?
Well, I mean, 2020 is actually going to be a very important year for the global shipping industry due to the new environmental regulations that will come into play. We have the so-called IMO 2020, which is going to go effective on January 1st of 2020, and all the ships will need to burn the so-called compliant fuels, or the low sulfur fuels. So we need to reduce the sulfur dioxide emissions on the global fleet. And you know, that's a very important decision, because not only we need to make a substantial investment on board our ships, but also the global refining industry will need to be in a position to produce low sulfur fuels that are going to be available for the marine space.
Absolutely, and it's so important that you bring up these initiatives, because environmental sustainability is definitely a topic being brought to the forefront no matter what industry you're in. So in regards to that, what does Seanergy have in store?
Well, we have, as I mentioned before, a fleet of 10 Cape-size vessels. We have decided to take a balanced approach. That means that we're installing the so-called scrubber system, which is a cleaner of the exhaust gas system through a very sophisticated and big device that we install on the ships that weighs about 25 tons. And for the rest of the fleet, we're just going to be burning the so-called compliant fuels. So it's a balanced approach, but the investment, what differentiates Seanergy from the competition, is that the investments to install scrubbers will not burden our shareholders. We will do it in partnership with our clients. So we co-invest with our clients. Actually, they invest in us, the whole amount, and that creates a significant accretion into the company. And of course, it's a vote of confidence of how good we are in what we do.
Very important to take note. Now, talk to me about the shipping industry. It's cyclical. Where are we in the cycle?
Well, just when we thought that you know, we were in the last you know, low point of the cycle, you know, a couple of years ago, it appears that due to the so-called black swan events that happened recently, the market is still, you know, in a weak phase. We are about 40 to 50% lower in respect of freight rates as compared to the long-term historical average. And that is not because of the general supply and demand fundamentals that we think are very strong. That is basically because of recent accidents that happened in Brazil, if you remember, about the dam collapse in a certain area. Yeah. And that has brought the industry into, again, the low part of the cycle. I think that this is going to recover in the next couple of months. Things will go back online, and then the market will be, you know, in very strong phase for the next couple of years at least.
And another reason to keep an eye on shipping, I mean, 90% of world trade is dominated by shipping. So are China-US trade concerns, that what is happening right now, what we're seeing a lot in the news, downward revisions of global growth, pressure on freight rates, do they keep you awake at night? Do you worry?
Not really, because we, in the Cape-size segment, we have not really been affected by the trade wars. Iron ore and coal are not so much affected by the US and China trade wars, because there's no direct trade between China and the US. I mean, it's very little in respect of iron ore and coal. So we have not really been impacted on that front, but it's more of a sentiment issue. I think that once that goes away, the overall global trade sentiment is going to improve substantially, and I think it's going to happen in the next few days, and that is going to give, you know, a better overall sentiment into the market.
And I mean, talk to me about, you're from Greece, Seanergy is Greece-based. What role does Greece play in the shipping industry?
Well, Greece is the dominant country globally in the shipping industry. One out of 3 cargo ships floating all over the world belongs to Greek interests. So, you know, we are probably the most important country in the world as far as the global seaborne cargo transportation is concerned. So Greece is a dominant role. I think that we are the best country by far in the world in what we do. It is in our DNA. So it's very important for the, you know, for the Greek economy and for the Greeks globally, you know, to invest further into the Greek shipping. And I think, like I said, I mean, we go back many generations in what we do, and we're like the best in the world in that.
Absolutely. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on Seanergy. Stamatis, thank you so much for coming in,
Thank you, Leanne.
sitting down and talking to us about Seanergy and Greece, which is king of shipping.
Thank you. Thank you.
NASDAQ followers, please stay tuned for more coverage right here from the NASDAQ market site. For now, that has been Stamatis Tsantanis, who's CEO of Seanergy.